Hello, happy Memorial Day.
Yeah. Wow. It is. I cannot believe it is the end of May already. It's been like a month since we first arrived to
Yeah,
this marina here in
and we
Jacksonville.
did our last live from a
Over there.
slip or tied up to the
Just
T dock right before we got hauled out over there floating, and now we're floating over here on the other side in kind of the maintenance yard at the boat yard that's been doing some work for us in Jacksonville. We kind of estimated when we got here that we might be hauled out for a week, maybe even 3 days was Cherie's
well,
most
that would be the
optimistic.
most optimistic, but yeah, a week or two was kind of our best guess because we're just having basic maintenance done, bottom paint, the zincs put on, through
And
holes and
yeah,
things like that.
one of the top things on our list we want to have checked out when we got hauled out was I've been noticing for a while. This has been a slowly developing problem that one of our main engine through holes that suck water in to cool the engine has developed a slow dripping leak and signs of corrosion. And it was like, can this be serviced or does this through hole need to be replaced? And fortunately, I'd actually have to say, fortunately, the mechanic didn't have a chance to check that out until we'd already been on the hard for 2 weeks.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, we probably really should replace the
It.
through holes, and let's just do both of them because they're the same age, both assuming to be original equipment on the boat. So they're about 23 years old.
And they're like, oh, but it takes about another 10 days to order the parts
And get it installed. Are you guys okay being on the hard again? It's like, yes, because we're having so much fun out in the van that we weren't ready to come back.
Yeah, because we've been kind of orbiting Jacksonville in our van. That's what we love about having this kind of van / boat hybrid life is that okay, it takes just a couple hours to move life from the boat to the van, and then we're nimble and mobile, and we've been out trying to see places that we've never been before and have new experiences. And so
Yeah.
we're like, no, fine, we're not ready to come back to the boat yet. Keep it longer.
So we focused a lot on, there's a lot of state parks. We love the Florida state park system. There's a lot of them up here in this northeast quadrant of Florida that we hadn't been able to get to before.
Right.
So we got to Fort Clinch was our first time up there, up in Fernandina Beach. It was
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
kind of like right on the most northeast corner of Florida, right where the St. Mary's River comes in. So, and that's where the nuclear subs cruise by, and there's a big old Civil War era fort that was never actually used, but it's beautiful to explore.
And we got down to Gold
Head
Branch State Park, which is south of Jacksonville in Keystone Heights. It's one of the oldest state parks in the system. Had never heard of it.
There's not much to note about it other than it has a ravine. Sort of. I mean, for Florida,
It's a ravine.
It's a ravine, and there's like extra trees that grow there because there's a little ravine. There's not, but oh, and the lakes that I guess it used to be a major, go play in the water lakes. It's in part of this area of Florida where the water tables dropped so much that the lakes are mostly dried out, and they're actually going to start pumping water from the Black Creek, where one of our favorite anchorages, pumping water uphill to start to refill the aquifer, the Florida aquifer, and refill the lakes in this area. So, yeah, that was that park. But it's still nice. We got some hiking in.
We also found Cary State Forest, which is just on the western side of Jacksonville, a little bit to the north. It's a state forest campground. They only have 6 sites, and I was super surprised when I went to check it out. It had like stunning 5-star reviews on Campendium.
And stunning 5G cell signal, too.
Yes. Huge sites, and lots of hiking trails out there. And I was like super surprised that the day that we were going to be leaving, that there's like 2 or 3 nights available there. So that's where we headed to first.
Yes,
right out of,
yeah. We're not doing this in chronological order.
No,
If you want more details, we do have a blog post that Sheree wrote yesterday that kind of shares some.
Yesterday, that was this morning.
That was this morning? Oh
Yeah.
my, okay. Things, yeah. That boat, yeah, moves fast.
And then we love Anastasia State Park in St. Augustine, so we ended up being able to snag last minute cancellations there twice during this month. And
you were going to reveal our secret to
that's
getting
not really a
those.
secret anymore. I mean, so many people use them. There's all these services out there that allow you to put a watch on state campgrounds, places that use things like Reserve America and some of the other reservation systems. And when someone cancels, you get a notification and you can go snag it.
And you have to jump on it really quick. So, like in the middle of the night, Sheree's like, "Bing! Oh, Anastasia's open. I got a reservation."
Thankfully, they always binged in the morning.
True.
Right after I got up, it was perfect. Because we've used Reserved at Wandering Labs .com for a long time. Harvest Host just launched one. There's Camp Nav. There's a bunch of other ones out there. We've been using, this is the original one that was written by the Watsons Wander, another full-timing couple that's been on the road a very long time. He wrote it.
For himself primarily, but it kind of word spread, and it's been an incredible tool to snag spots when you're just needing something like short-term notice. Like, I'm looking for something this weekend, and you could find it.
Yep. So if we don't find sites available, we do that. So yeah, we got into Anastasia twice. Once 2 nights and another 3 nights. Had a great time there.
Great time we worked.
Well, we worked on the first one a lot. Starlink dropped their new plans that we had to cover.
Yes. So if you haven't been following our work life, a lot of changes with Starlink over there. So over at the Mobile Internet Resource Center, you can read all about it. But there's been some interesting changes and a lot to cover while we were at Anastasia last.
Yes. But this, we went for our second visit when we got a weekend. We got there over a weekend. And
it's Mother's Day weekend.
It was Mother's Day weekend, so my mom drove up. We had to spend the weekend with her. Explored downtown. There's a farmer's market that happens at the amphitheater at the back gates that we stumbled on. It was great. We got to listen to live music at the amphitheater in the evenings, right at the campground. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So Anastasia is one of our all-time favorites in Florida. It's actually, I think, might be one of the first state parks Cherie took me to in Florida when we were first dating way back, forever ago.
17 years ago.
17 years ago. That's amazing. And so it's always fun to return to Anastasia.
And then if you're following our blog post from last summer when we were out on our van trip, we started checking out naturist RV parks. Places where you go nude.
Ooh, run around naked.
Yeah, we love it. These are family-oriented parks, and they're just great to get out and not have to have clothes on. You can do all your laundry. There's a lot of benefits. We'll probably might do one of these live casts on naked RVing, but we checked out 4 of them on this trip.
On this past month,
this past month, because Florida has a bunch of them.
And so we've been trying to compare them, and it's like, hey, this is a chance to check out, because we've kind of run out of state parks in a lot of places. So it's like, let's try things that are new, and these have been new and kind of interesting to compare because they're very different from each other.
But I think the ones we went to this time, we loved Sunny Sands down in Pearson, Florida, and also Cypress
Cove in Kissimmee was wonderful.
Both of them had good vibes. They were very affordably priced, and just beautiful facilities. And it was a great way to mix up go get some swimming in and hiking, and it was great.
Yeah. So we had fun with those, and again, we kind of wrote up, they're in the blog post, kind of more descriptions and links of all of those. Unfortunately, that's part of the reason we have so little footage for this past month is cameras are not something you tend to use much when you're going to nudist RV places.
They're really frowned upon.
Yeah.
And actually, I did a little intro. I try to do B-roll footage throughout the month for these things. I totally forgot. I mean, I don't know. There's something about when we're RVing, it's not as... I just
don't think to grab the camera all that often. It's I don't know. We're having so much fun doing stuff, and there were other kind of stops too.
Oh yeah. So once we learned that the through hulls were going to have to be ordered in, and that was going to delay another 10 days, it happened to coincide with Peplink and Frontier hosting their summit over in Tampa.
Their partner summit. So all their basically people who sell Peplink hardware and install it and stuff from around the country coming together to hear from Peplink on their future roadmap and to meet each other and to network. And
we got invited to crash the party.
Yeah, basically we did. And it was kind of fun because, even though, most of the people there kind of are focused on selling, and they're focused on kind of more the enterprise market, a lot of them have seen and watched our videos covering Peplink hardware because we do more coverage of Peplink stuff than we have a lot of coverage on YouTube about that stuff.
It's because Peplink routers for cellular internet, if you don't know what we're talking about, have a very popular option for those that need a reliable mobile internet setup. So those working remotely tend to go with those. If you look at our personal setup, which we did a video on 2 months ago, I think, you can go check out what we use.
Yeah. And so like our broadcast right now, I'm broadcasting with a Peplink Max BR2, a Pro bonding together Starlink, plus a Verizon plan, plus an AT&T plan, and all combined I'm getting 200 megabits down and 60 megabits per second up, and all that redundancy means if one connection goes down, theoretically, and
the show goes on.
So again, these are the people who make that hardware, and it was kind of fun because we talk to them, like we talk to the Peplink product managers every month and stuff. So it's always fun to go and actually see people in person that we just spend a lot of time with on Zoom, and to meet a lot of other people. So we actually had a great time crashing the party at the Hyatt Regency, was it?
Grand Hyatt.
Grand
over
Hyatt
Tampa
in
Bay.
Tampa. Basically camping out in the parking lot there.
Which it happened to be some warm days,
Very
and
hot
our
days.
van is a Travato GL, so it's got the lithium battery bank in it and no generator, but it charges off of a second alternator that can run, and the lithium bank can run the AC for about
5-6 hours.
hours at a time.
Yeah, depending on how much it needs to cycle. And when you're in a parking lot in the sun in Florida, it's basically running nonstop because we have a cat, and she likes it cool. So it was we worked out it was our worst ever fuel economy on the Travato.
Yeah, when I calculated that tank of fuel, because we were there for pretty much 4 days, so running the AC 24/7, 4 days. We went to fill up the tank after that trip, and the mileage that came out on my little app that I record our fuel ups at came out like our mileage was like 3.48 miles to
Yes.
to
Yeah, because the engine auto starts whenever the battery gets to a certain low level. It will auto start and charge the battery back up. So it'll run the engine for an hour. Each charging cycle is an hour, and that'll bring it up about a 50% increase and stuff. So it was some power management needed, but we were able to show up and stay in a parking lot, stay in our own bed, and hang out at this
place
business conference.
where they fed us nonstop.
Yeah, they had
really.
gourmet food. They had really
And
good
they were
food.
really cognizant of dietary restrictions. So
Yes.
they had options for vegetarian, for
Vegan,
gluten-free.
gluten-free, everything.
They were just
yeah.
amazing. I was
Yeah.
super impressed with it.
Yeah, so
And open bar every night. Oh, they took us out on a yacht, so we had to do a dinner cruise.
yeah, I used to spend a lot of my life going to corporate events and trade shows and developer events. So it was like a flashback to 17 years in the past, and it was kind of fun. So
Yeah, it definitely was fun. Oh, and we got to hang out. If you know Mobile Must Have, also Live in Light. Eric McCauley was coming down for it, and he won Partner of the Year at the summit. But they're also our partners with the Mobile Resource Center. We team up on the Pepling
so
stuff
we
together.
declare him Partner of the Year for our site.
I told him he could be our Partner of the Year, too.
But yeah, he got the nice little trophy, and we actually had to do a member webinar that almost overlapped with his award ceremony. He didn't know he was going to win, but they told him you have to be there, and he's like, well, I have to leave at this time. So they cut the award ceremony short so he can run out to the parking lot and do a broadcast from the van with us.
And that's why he's Partner
That's
of the
why
Year.
he's Partner of the Year. He takes his responsibilities very seriously.
So-
But it was very fun to do that.
And hang out with them. And then because we're in the Tampa area, we were able to go and spend time with dear friends who
That
have
we haven't
settled
seen in
in.
ages.
Yeah, so if you've ever seen on our channel a tour of the Creative Cruiser, which is this amazing vintage bus conversion.
And looks like it's going to be our first video to cross 1 million views. It's a video it's a horribly recorded live stream from how many years ago?
5 or 6 years ago?
6. Yeah, and YouTube accidentally recorded in low res, but it's a tour of the coolest vintage bus that has ever existed, I'd say, because it's freaking amazing. And
our friend Ben Wilmore, so we met him back in 2008 while we were all on the road. We were the first working aged RVers that either of us had met, and then he found Karen in his journey. And she joined, and they got married, and so we've traveled with them for many years.
Yeah, so now they're part-timers or semi-timers, and they also work on cruise ships, but they have a house over in the Clearwater area. So it was awesome to park our van right next to the Creative Cruiser, this amazing bus, and
hang out for a couple of days.
Yeah,
so we also got to meet up with some other friends that we knew
we
before.
hadn't seen in 17, 16 years.
Yeah.
And or almost that, yeah.
And we only managed one Harvest Host stay on this. We love Harvest Host, but
there's a dangerous one.
Well, the one we went to was healthy.
Yes.
That one was a blueberry farm, and it is blueberry season in Florida is just now wrapping up, and blueberries have become a major food group for us.
Yes, we are berry nuts, and I didn't realize they had like
10 varieties.
I think more, like 15 different varieties of blueberries. They all tasted like blueberries, but slightly different. So you could walk around the field, one in the bucket, one in your mouth to taste, one in the bucket, one in your mouth. I think that's how it's supposed to work when you pick blueberries, right?
That's why we paid them extra.
Yes. Yeah, we picked 2 pounds of blueberries and might have ate who knows how many, and it was just a blast. We love Harvest Host. This was a Blue Bayou Blueberry Farm.
Just south of Jax.
Just south of Jacksonville.
There's another one in the area that we wanted to go. It was a kitten rescue. Yes. And I felt safe going to the blueberry farm because
we could take as many blueberries as we want.
And we'll eat them.
Kittens.
Kittens are, I would want to adopt them all, and we just...
The van would not overload. And so, yeah, but there are several other Harvest Hosts around where And again, because our van's got the electrical autonomy and stuff, harvest hosts tend not to have hookups, so it actually works out for us because
on these warm days.
Yeah, particularly if you're only staying overnight, we don't need to have the engine running in auto start mode to keep the air conditioner going. So we do pretty well with all that.
So it's a great month on the road. We had a lot of adventures. I got to meet up with a lot of friends. Got to experience a lot of new experience.
By like that. It was so fast.
We did circle back to Jack several times. Checked in on Why Not. The yard gave us great updates, but things moved a little slower than we were
the first
expecting.
week there was windstorms and basically nothing could be done, and then there's like stuff is moving slow. The mechanic shop is really backed up, but they got us back into the water and last week and just in time, so we came back, moved back on board, and it's just nice to be back back in the boat. We just love being on our boat, and we're now, going into this week, we're going to meet with them and figure out the last other remaining projects. There's some other stuff they're waiting for parts because we're replacing the hatches in our bedroom that are old and leaky and not worth refurbishing. They're worth replacing.
Right. We're also, the other major project we're going to do is have all the waste hoses replaced on the boat. They're the original, 23 years old. So we figured that they're either permeated or will be soon.
They're getting to the point where there's little scents and stuff. So again, we're going to check in with them on their timing on that and parts as we go into this upcoming week, and hopefully figure out when we can get the boat and start cruising. We could live on it here in the dock while they work, and we could do more van adventures if we want. Or
so we're kind of thinking, we're hoping we can arrange is know what the remaining projects are, get them in the schedule, get the parts in, and maybe we go off for a couple weeks and just go cruise. Like, we'd love to go back down to St. Augustine on the boat.
By water, yes.
There's a great mooring field at the city marina there that we just love, and you're right downtown. It was a fabulous experience last time we were there. So that's the sort of stuff that we're looking for. And then we are intending to return to Sanford probably by July-ish. Before peak hurricane season. It's great hurricane protection there. Why Not? We'll be staying there. I saw there's a question about the Great Loop. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to the questions in a second.
Yeah, but definitely, if you guys have questions, put them in the chat window. We're happy to answer them. We're pretty much reached the end of our babbling phase here. Yes. It was a great month.
Yeah, and so I guess our plans looking ahead is we are planning to eventually we're going to spend some time next month or two or whatever cruising in the boat until we decide that it's time to park Why Not for hurricane season, go back upriver to Sanford. We have kept paying for our slip in Sanford because there is if we give it up, we don't get it back. There's
a long wait list because the whole dock was lost during Hurricane Ian.
Yes. And so Why Not's going to live at Sanford for at least the upcoming hurricane season, and then we're intending to
get back
into the fall, go back in the van and do a cross-country road trip and go visit our vintage bus that is missing us way out in Arizona.
We're missing it too.
Yes. Oh yeah. We miss our bus, and we haven't done the Arizona trip in a while, so we're going to do the cross-country trip sometime in the fall, and that's kind of the rough plan. And then
and I have a niece being born that we want to go meet.
Yes, so we're going to have a new Viard. And and then circle back to the boat sometime into early next year.
Or end of year, who knows?
Yeah, we don't plan that far ahead.
So there was a question about, can you talk more if we're still planning to complete the loop? And this is the standard answer. It is a long time ago we gave up the identification of being loopers.
And the schedule. We gave up the schedule early on.
Right. So as you know, the pandemic hit while we were in the pursuit of the loop. We ended up coming back to Sanford, fell in love with Sanford, but we also fell in love with cruising in general, and not necessarily.
I still really want to get up into the Canadian canals and stuff, but we're not on a particular timeline, and
we were intending to restart it this spring. That was the full intention.
It's a good thing we didn't, because we'd be waiting for parts still here. So, yeah.
No. The original intention is we're going to come here to Lamb's in Jacksonville, like in February, and then get the boat work done then, and then start like in March.
In April. Yeah.
We're too late in the season to start it now, and I don't really want to. Because we would be wanting to get out to Arizona anyway, so it's just too late in the year to start it. We might restart it next year. We'll see.
Or maybe the year after that,
or maybe never. Yeah. Maybe we're just enjoying life and doing what we want to do.
Yeah.
And the loop is be a great adventure, but it also is, once you start it, you're committed for the rest of it, and you've got to keep coming back, go through the whole thing. And, at our pace, because we keep getting distracted by amazing places and wanting to be places. It could take a decade for us to complete the darn thing. That's kind of where we got with it, and so we're just really enjoying just cruising when we want, going out vanning
when we want, and
got to figure out Zephyr.
Got to figure out
because this only getting back to Arizona once every other year is getting it's not fair to her.
No, it's not fair to Zephyr. So we do need to figure out that plan. But we just kind of figure out a piece at a time as we go, and we're definitely having a good time.
Ron's surgery is tomorrow. You are in our hearts and thoughts, Ron.
Yeah. So Ron, another bus nut and nomad that we know, is
having major surgery tomorrow.
So. We're thinking of you, Ron, and Steve, you take good care of him. And other questions now? Any chance to check in? And we know it's the Memorial Day. It's just probably going to be.
I'm surprised we have
40 people tuned in, but it's. We just figured let's get a video up of filling people in of what we are up to, because we kind of have an intention of maybe let's try to do this at least once a month. And,
so we kind of we got to the end of the month. It was like, we really should.
And we have the van trip we could fill people in on, but we had no footage. But hey, whatever.
There's a blog post that goes along if you want to go see all the stops we made with links to them and where they are on a map. It's linked in the description.
Any other updates? Kiki is. Been doing great.
Yes, Kiki's doing fabulous. I just really, really appreciate having the van, and especially for extended boat projects. The 2 other times that we've had Why Not hauled out for boat projects. The first time was in Miami, and that one was not a planned haul out. That was an emergency. And then we ended up there 5 weeks, and we lived on the boat while it's on the hard, and you're climbing a ladder and you can't run air conditioning, and even though it was December, it was Miami. It was not fun. So having the van,
it was a marina not a really marina, boatyard right under the airport in an industrial section of Miami. So it was roughing it big time. So
it's been great. So when we hauled out in Savannah and had work done there, this is just pre-COVID, we had gotten the first van, Cooper. And so we just took off in Cooper and left the boat with them to do all the projects over 6 months.
Yeah, because projects get done a lot quicker when you're there sitting and kind of able to supervise and, hey, what's up? How's this going? Things get done a lot quicker, but it's a lot more stress because you're living inside the project nonstop. And it's kind of been nice, to be just gone in the van and having great time and not really be stressing. Yes, checking
in every so often. And
we're not a squeaky wheel that's getting greased, but we're having a good time with the van. So it's been a nice.
We were moderately squeaky. We're coming back we came back basically every week, talked with our project manager, asked for updates, emailed. And he kept in touch, and he told us, hey, this is what we're dealing with. And he kept us in the
new canvas too. You almost forgot that other part of the project.
we're having new canvas done too.
Yes, the new bimini curtain enclosure, so ours are literally falling apart. Then you can't see through them anymore. So we're very excited about that. They might get installed tomorrow or Wednesday. So that's going to be a huge upgrade for the boat. Looking forward to that.
Yes. Yeah, so the remaining projects is the engine is due for its general servicing, so they're going to do that. We generally do our own oil changes and changing out the impellers and things like that, but about every year, 2 or 3 years, I like to have a pro look over the engine and do everything, because we're not pros, and I want expert eyes on the engine. So
we balance it out. And
so we do most of we do about half the maintenance ourselves, and then we splurge and let a pro do it, so that we have some extra eyes on it that know what they're looking at.
And overall, it seems like Why Not's in good, healthy shape, and we're looking for it. Oh, and hey, we got Sabina's here up in getting on the ferry to Newfoundland. Oh my gosh, you guys are on an awesome trip up there. I saw that picture you posted earlier today, so it's great to see you guys pop up here, and look forward to rendezvousing when we're all back in Sanford and comparing travel stories.
For sure, you guys have an amazing time.
They cover ground fast.
Yeah, it's crazy. They left yesterday, and they're already up in Nova Scotia?
I think so. Yeah, they cover ground fast. It's so awesome to see you guys.
I think they left last Sunday after Eckert got off work.
Okay, I think we might be caught up. And so, keep this quick and easy. It's just a short 30-minute one tonight, and we'll play the outro of a few of our scant scenes.
The only times I remember to pick up the
pick
camera.
up the camera. But we took a lot of photos, and so go check the blog post that goes along with this. There are a lot of really great photos of all the places we went. And so check that out, and we'll see you next month.
All right.
Take care.